Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Naranam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 84, the sages' teachings at Kurukshetra, text number 14 onwards. So yesterday we discussed how when all the Draupadi Maharani was speaking with all the queens in the camp, Krishna, Balram, they came out, they met Yudhishthira Maharaj, and then Krishna, Yudhishthira Maharaj, and other kings, they met all the sages. So many sages came from all over the universe. And we'll see how Vasudevji will ask them a question, and they will answer. Text 14. Shri Shukavacha Nishamyatam Bhagavata Krishnasya Kunta Medasa Vachodaran Vayam Viprasa Tushni Masan Brahmatya. Shukdev Goswami said, hearing such unfathomable words from the unlimitedly wise Lord Krishna, the learned Brahmins remained silent, their minds bewildered. Well, why were they bewildered? Especially the shloka that Krishna said was one who identifies himself as an inert body composed of mucus, bile, and air, who assumes his wife and family are permanently his own, who thinks an earthen image or the land of his birth is worshipable, or who sees a place of pilgrimage as merely the water there, but who never identifies himself with, feels kinship with, worships, or even visits those who are wise in spiritual truth. Such a person is no better than a cow or an ass. So basic thing is, when we go to the place of pilgrimage, we have to associate with sadhus. There's so many sadhus, wonderful teachers, and we try to learn from them. So the learned Brahmins remained silent. Chiram vimrishya munya ishvarasya shitvatam jana sangraha iti uchu samayantastam jagat gurum. For some time, the sages pondered the Supreme Lord's behavior, which resembled that of a subordinate living being. They concluded that he was acting this way to instruct the people in general. Thus they smiled and spoke to him, the spiritual master of the universe. Jagat Gurum, he is a spiritual master of the whole universe. Every knowledge, everything comes from him only. But when he was playing the part of a king and an ordinary human being, he was acting perfectly in that. Srila Sridhar Swami explains the word ishitavyata as referring to one's not being a controller, or in other words, to being under the law of karma, obliged to work and experience the results of one's work. While addressing the sages, Lord Krishna accepted the role of a subordinate living being to emphasize the importance of hearing and serving saintly Vaishnavas. The personality of Godhead is also the supreme teacher of spiritual surrender. Shri Munya Uchu Yan Mayaya Tattva Viduttama Vayam Vimohita Vishwasrijamadhishvara Yadishit Vyayati Gud Iyaya Aho Vichitram Bhagavad Vicheshtitam. The great sages said, your power of illusion has totally bewildered us, the most exalted knowers of the truth and leaders among the universal creators. Oh, how amazing is the behavior of the Supreme Lord. He covers himself with his human-like activities and pretends to be subject to superior control. Sages knew what the Supreme Lord is up to. The sages have characterized the Lord's statements as inscrutable, How this is so stated here. His words and activities bewilder even the most learned when he plays at subordinating himself to his own servants. अनीह एतद् बहुधैक आत्मना सृज्यति वत्यति न बध्यते यथा भौमैर्हि भूमिर् बहुनाम रूपिणी अहो विभुम्नश्चरितं विडम्बनम्. Indeed, the human-like pastimes of the Almighty are simply a pretense. Effortlessly, He alone sends forth from Himself this variegated creation, maintains it, and then swallows it up again, all without becoming entangled. Just as the element earth takes on many names and forms in its various transformations. The One Supreme expands Himself as many without diminishing His completeness. He does this effortlessly without depending on anyone or anything else. This mystic process of the Lord's self-expansion is incomprehensible to all but Himself. But the example of the substance earth and its manifold products bears enough resemblance to provide some idea. The same example is also presented in an often cited passage of Chandrodagya Upanishad. Earth's transformations are merely verbal creations of the process of naming. The substance earth itself is alone real. So all his expansions and avatars, everything come with different names, but he is a source. He is one. He expands himself. Srila Sridhar Swami suggests that this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam answers a possible objection on the part of Lord Krishna. How can I create, maintain, and destroy the universe if I am Vasudev's son? The answer is given by the words, Aho vibhunanch charitam vidambanam. You're the perfectly complete whole, and your birth and pastimes are only an imitation of ordinary person's activities in the material world. You simply pretend to be under higher control. So you simply pretend, but you're not under anybody's control, and He is completely independent. Supreme Lord, Supreme Absolute Truth. It's not under any foundations or any laws that we think of. Athapi kale swajanna biguptaye vibharshit sattvam kalla nigrihaya cha swalileya vedapatham sanatanam varnashramatma purusha paro bhavam. Nonetheless, at suitable times, you assume the pure mode of goodness to protect your devotees and punish the wicked. Thus you, the soul of Varnashram social order, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, maintain the eternal path of the Vedas by enjoying your pleasure pastimes. This verse describes the Lord's enlightening people in general, Jan Sangra, and his imitation of worldly behavior. Because the personality of Godhead remains always perfect, the body He manifests when He comes to this world is not touched by material goodness. Rather, it's a manifestation of the pure goodness known as Vishuddha Sattva, the same spiritual substance that constitutes His original form. But even to know this much, one has to be on a very high level. I mean, as Krishna Himself says in Bhagavad Gita, Mudo ayam na vijanati. When He comes in His human-like form, Mudo ayam, rascals, they do not know Him because He doesn't let His Yog Maya just covers Him. So only way to know Him is by surrendering unto Him. Surrendering to His instructions, surrendering to His devotees or the gurus that He sends, and then follow the process so that we can become pure enough, eligible enough. Enough means, He is unlimited, so we cannot be unlimitedly pure. Enough to understand to whatever degree He wants us to understand. It's difficult. It's very, very difficult. Brahmate hridayam shuklam tapasvadhyaya samyamah yatropalabdham sadvyaktam avyaktam chatatah param. The Vedas are your spotless heart, and through them one can perceive, by means of austerity, study, and self-control, the manifest, the unmanifest, and the pure existence, transcendental to both. Vyakta, the manifest, consists of the visible things of this world, and avyakta consists of the subtle, underlying causes of cosmic creation. There are so many subtle energies. We just have to come to realize it, understand this. The Vedas point to the transcendental realm of Brahman, which lies beyond all material cause and effect. And even to perceive that, one has to go through austerity, study, self-control. Without that, no way anything can be manifest. Tasmad Brahma Kulam Brahman Shastra Yones Tvamatmanah Sabhajayasi Sathama Tad Brahmanya Agranir Bhavan. Therefore, O Supreme Brahman, you honor the members of the Brahminical community, for they are the perfect agents by which one can realize you through the evidence of the Vedas. For that very reason, you are the foremost worshipper of the Brahmins. Adyano Janma Safalyam Vidyaya Stapsodrisha Tvaya Sangamya Sadgatya Yadanta Shreyasam Paraha. Today our birth, education, austerity, and vision have all become perfect because we have been able to associate with you, the goal of all saintly persons. Indeed, you yourself are the ultimate supreme blessing. So the perfection of our life, of perfection of birth, education, austerity, vision is to have the association of the Lord. The sages contrast their respect for the Lord with this reciprocal worship of them. Lord Krishna honors Brahmins as a means of instructing less intelligent men, whereas he is in fact absolutely independent. The Brahmins who worship him, on the other hand, benefit themselves more than they can imagine. So they get benefited more. Why? Because then they get more purified and they get more elevated by worshipping him, by associating with him. Namastasmai Bhagavate Krishnaya Kuntamedhase Swayog Mayaya Chan Mahimne Paramatmane. Let us offer obeisances unto that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, the infinitely intelligent Super Soul, who has disguised his greatness through his mystic Yoga Maya. So Krishna just covers himself, his activities with Yoga Maya that not everybody and anybody can understand. Because then people will take him cheaply. And they think they know the Lord. It's just not possible that way. Apart from any future profit to be obtained from worshipping the Supreme Lord, it is every person's most essential obligation to bow down to him as an acknowledgement of one's dependence and servitude. Lord Krishna recommends Man Mana Bhav. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Na yam vidantyami bhupa eka ramasya vrishnaya maya javanika channam atmanam kalamishwaram. Neither these kings nor even the Vrishnis who enjoy your intimate association know you as a soul of all existence, a force of time and the supreme controller. For them, you're covered by the curtain of Maya. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that Lord Krishna's family, the Vrishnis, were too familiar with him to realize that he is a super soul residing in the heart of every created being. And those kings at Kurukshetra who were not devotees of Krishna could not recognize him as time, the annihilator of everything. Devotees and non-devotees are both covered by Maya, but in different ways. For the materialists, Maya is illusion. For the Vaishnavas, she acts as Yoga Maya, the internal potency who covers their awareness of the Supreme Lord's majesty and engages them in his eternal pleasure pastime. So Vrishnis or Yadus, they don't know him as the Supreme or Super Soul, because that would stop or cover, hinder their personal relationship with the Lord. For the Lord, that is more important. With his personal devotees, to have that personal relationship of love. So Yogamaya covers it. Yatha Shyana Purusha Atvanam Gunatattadrik Nama Matrendriya Bhatam Na Vedarahitam Param Evam Tva Nama Matreshu Visheshu Indriya Maya Vibram Chitto Na Veda Smriti Upaplavat. A sleeping person imagines an alternative reality for himself, and seeing himself as having various names and forms, forgets his waking identity, which is distinct from the dream. Similarly, the senses of one whose consciousness is bewildered by illusion perceive only the names and forms of material objects. Thus, such a person loses his memory and cannot know you. A sleeping person imagines an alternative reality for himself, and he forgets his waking identity, which is distinct from the dream. So, sleeping person means one who is in ignorance. Ignorance is also considered as sleep. So, in ignorance, we forget who we are, who we really are. Right now, we think I'm man, I'm woman, I'm Indian, and I'm American, or whatever. But this is not our real identity. And once we don't know our real identity, we definitely cannot know Krishna. So this is self-realization. Is first to know myself. Who am I, and who is God? What's my relationship with? How to not develop or revive that relationship. Just as a person's dream is a secondary reality created from the stock of his memories and desires, so this universe exists as an inferior creation of the Supreme Lord, in no real way separate from him. And just as a person who awakens from sleep experiences the higher reality of his waking life, so the Supreme Lord also has his distinct higher reality beyond everything we know of this world. In his own words, Maya Tadamidam Sarvam, by me in my unmanifested form, the entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. And yet, everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everything, I'm not part of this cosmic manifestation, for myself is the very source of creation. Mamatma Bhuta Bhavana. So he's a source, he's a maintainer of everything, he's a destroyer also. He's into everything. Everybody is in him. Because everything is his energy. Nobody can be beyond his energy. But he himself, as Shyam Sundar Krishna, is not everywhere. Tasyadyate dadrishyam imangrim aghogamarša tirthaspadan hridi kritam suvipakvat yogo hai utsikta bhakti upahatashaya jiva kosha Apur bhavad gatim athan grihan bhaktam. Today we have directly seen your feet, the source of the holy Ganges, which washes away volumes of sins. Perfected yogis can at best meditate upon your feet within their hearts, but only those who render you wholehearted devotional service, and in this way vanquish the soul's covering, the material mind, attain you as a final destination. Therefore, kindly show mercy to us, your devotees. So this is the sages are saying to Krishna. The holy river Ganges has a power to destroy all sorts of sinful reactions because she originates at the Lord's lotus feet and thus contains the dust of his feet. Explaining this verse, Srila Swami says, if the Lord might advise the sages that they need not concern themselves with devotional practices because they are already far advanced in spiritual knowledge and austerity, they hereby respectfully decline such a suggestion, pointing out that only those yogis who have destroyed the material mind and ego by surrendering to Krishna in pure devotional service can attain full perfection. They conclude by praying to the Lord that he favor them in the most merciful way by making them his devotees. So see the humility. This is the humility. Narad Muni is there, Vyasadeva, Parshuram, Vishwamitra, so many great sages are there. They're saying, please, you show mercy to us and make us your devotees. See, a devotee never even thinks he's a devotee. He's always waiting for the mercy, while at the same time carrying on with his devotion service, with his duties. But he waits and waits and waits for mercy. He is getting the mercy. Engagement in devotional service is itself the mercy of the Lord and the devotees. But still, he never considers that, yes, I have attained perfection or I have attained any devotion service. He says, I don't have, I need them. This, when we study Chaitanya Charitamrita, we'll see that all the devotees, this is a common theme among them. They say, we don't have any devotion service. Shri Shukvacha, iti anugyapya dashar dhritarashram yudhishtiram rajarshya swashrama anna gantum munyo dadhire manaha. Shukdev Goswami said, having thus spoken, O wise king, the sages then took leave of Lord Dasharha, Dhritarashtra, and Yudhishthir and prepared to depart for their ashrams. Tadvikshya Vasudevo Mahayasha Pranamya Chaupasangriya Bhavashedam Suyantrita. Seeing that they were about to leave, the renowned Vasudeva approached the sages. After bowing down to them and touching their feet, he spoke to them in carefully chosen words. So Vasudevji, who's father of Krishna, he approached the sages. Shri Vasudeva Vach, Namo Vasarva Devebhya Rishya Shrotumarhata Karmana Karma Nirharo Yatha Syanas Tadachutam. Shri Vasudeva said, obeisances to you, the residents of all the demigods. Please hear me, O sages. Kindly tell us how the reactions of one's work can be counteracted by further work. Here Vasudevji addresses the sages as the residents of all the demigods. His statement is confirmed in the authoritative Shruti mantras, which declare, whatever demigods exist, all reside in a Brahman who knows the Veda, wherever the demigods exist. So Vasudevji is approaching the sages with Supreme Lord as his own son. Balramji is his son. Subhadra is his daughter, Yogmaya, personified. But one way we can say this is his humility. On the other way, we can say Yogmaya has covered him. So he doesn't know the glories of Krishna. And in the third way, it's a duty of every king to respect the sages, and the sages had approached not the kingdom, the camp, though they should ask questions, inquire. This is a real service to the sadhus. Real service is not we prepare different kinds of food items and give them to eat, and or we give them big donations. It's good, okay, yeah, it's good. I'm not against it, but this is not the real service. It doesn't please a real sadhu. He's pleased more when we ask him questions about self-realization. And this is what Vasudevji approached them and asked them how the reactions of one's work can be counteracted by further work. Because he's thinking further work must be entangling one. So how can we counteract? So Narad Muni will start speaking and he'll give him nice answer. So we'll study tomorrow. See anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, so you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.